Peace and magic to the gods and the goddesses out there. So, welcome to Origns with Lucifer, part 10. And in this part, we are going to get into sacred geometry. And I apologize for how long it's been taking to get this part off, but this part had to be right. Like a lot of things, like what I'm finna explain to you with sacred geometry is pretty much connecting all of the puzzles in life and like a lot of the questions that you want to ask, but you're not really sure where to start off with it. So pretty much this video is going to cover like physics, anti-magic, like what is sacred geometry, like the atom, energy, physics, and like all of that good shit or whatnot. We pretty much gonna be trying to compile this and summarize this all the way up to where you can understand like what sacred geometry really is or whatever. So first, in order to understand what sacred geometry is, we have to take the word sacred and geometry and break both of those words down to their word origin, meaning we are going to strip it clean so we can get a clear understanding of what sacred geometry really is. Okay, so pretty much when you take sacred and you break sacred down, the word origin of sacred is holy. So pretty much it's holy, like sacred geometry, it's holy or whatever. The sacred part meaning holy and divine and all that good shit. And then you got the geometry part, and geometry is kind of two different meanings. So when you look at the word origin for geometry, it's going to give geo means earth, and then metry means measure. So pretty much sacred geometry pretty much means holy earth measurer. Like that's literally what sacred geometry means. It's just a holy earth measurer, meaning a divine measurer, a divine connection, a divine understanding. Because if you're measuring something, you're measuring it to understand the length of it, the magnitude of it. Like if you're measuring something, you're trying to figure something out with it. That's why you're measuring it in the first place or whatever. So like the next video is going to be about duality, so I'm not going to dive deeply into it or whatever, but just know, like, if you're really trying to understand sacred geometry and all that and trying to figure out how to get tapped in with all of this energy around you, like your heart chakra has to have great intent, meaning you have to have some type of intent that you're fighting for in life outside of yourself. Like, yes, you're fighting to make you a better person, but at the same time, like, what are you fighting to make yourself a better person for? And that's when a community aspect kicks into play, meaning your heart intent. Like, are you fighting for just more than yourself? Is the question. Like, a lot of people can't answer that question honestly or whatnot. So it's anti-magic and magic. That's what sacred geometry is. It's a holy earth measurer. So it's pretty much taking all the variables of anti-magic and magic and combining them into one or whatever. And it's like, it's an awareness. It's you have to be aligned because it's like a heart thing and a mind thing. The mind is a very high authority figure when it comes to the energy game. So it's like you need that heart and that awareness of your mind to be aligned within each other. It's like a harmony in order to like really dive into the sacred geometry or even begin to understand it. Because all of these white people, they really didn't, like Albert Einstein, like they had like the paper part written down, but it's like if you think about it, they really took the long way. Like, it's a shortcut to figuring all of this out or whatever. But they took the long way and they still don't know what the fuck they doing. Like, they long way is just drawn all the way the fuck out or whatever. But our way, it's just understanding. Like, if you can understand energy, then you'll understand the world around you. And the only way to fully understand energy is opening your heart intent up. Because the universe is just not going to let people with fucked up intent reach these type of frequencies or whatever, where it's just like I don't know how to describe it, but it's just not gonna let you get to those high frequencies of like ancient wisdom, because the art of it was, and the whole nature aspect of it was the intent, the heart. Like your heart will guide you up through the frequencies, but your intent of why you're learning something plays a major role into how much information you will be able to receive, because that energy that you're storing up with your intent, it's allowing the universe to work with you like a magnetic field to send things your way, to like let objects come to you when your intent is right behind a lot of shit or whatever. And then what else about sacred geometry? We got shapes. The shapes, like how something is shaped. Something can be shaped like a triangle, or as you see the background for the video, like the cube, the circle, the star, the square. Energy gets directed through these lines. And a lot of people don't realize that shit. Like shapes, when they form a certain way, it makes a certain type of energy, because energy is everywhere. Like even you can go down to like the word atom. Energy goes all the way down to the word atom or whatever. Like even physical objects and objects that's like really have no purpose, like a table or some shit, they are still comprised of energy, because everything in the physical is comprised of energy. So if it's comprised of energy, it has some type of atom to it. And if you're energy, you can literally communicate with these atoms and all of these things energy wise, because literally everything around us is just a constant energy transfer. And that goes back to like the whole wearing designer clothing, like Gucci. Those symbols activate a type of spell when you put them on, because of how the words are, the coloring. It's so much shit that goes into play when it comes to anti-magic and magic and sacred geometry. It's like infinite amounts of spells and just a whole pile of crazy shit. Like even just putting on clothes, they can make you act a certain type of way if you are very impulsive and if not paying attention to your behavior, because that's the whole goal of that. And that's why I spoke about that in the other anti-magic and magic video. Like this shapes really do direct energy, particles, atoms. And an atom, the word origin of a atom is a holy word. It means not to cut or indivisible, meaning not capable of being divided. So everything physically is comprised of energy. So that's what atom means, meaning like it's a certain number of type of cells, that it's a certain type of number of atoms that take to make water, like H2O or whatever. Like that's what that formula is for that. And that's what it's speaking about with atoms. Like it takes a certain type, like once those certain types it take to make H2O, then that's the recipe it takes to make H2O. And then the word origin for energy, as we get deeper into this, is in or within work, which equals inner work. So energy equals in or within or work, meaning inner work. And that's what I mean by like it's communicating with us face to face. What all of this shit is, it's energy, meaning it's inner work. It's within you. You can connect and tap into all of this. Literally, you can, but it's like your heart intent. You got to be open and honest with yourself. You got to be genuine. Strip yourself down to the T and be naked and be fearless and confident in who you are and that you are a deity. Like I'm telling you, I only got this far because of this. Because of this whole heart and awareness combination, it brings harmony and it brings creativity. It brings beautiful things towards you in your life. And they don't want a lot of people to know this information, especially when it comes to sacred geometry, because once people realize like that's really what sacred geometry is like understanding all things are connected, even through nature or whatever, with like words. It's just everything combined together, like auras, colors, animals, numbers. That's what sacred geometry is. The shapes. It's like everything literally combined in one. And it's like it helps you learn how to perceive messages out of life, because everything that's like natural based, it's always a positive sign. Like it's always a positive sign, because nature is where home is. Nature. It's a part of nature, nature, nature. So if it ain't natural, we don't fuck with it. We do not fuck with it. So, like, we can start talking about electric and magnetic fields, and pretty much all this shit pretty much just go back to energy, energy, inner work. That's what all of these electric and magnetic fields is inner work, especially when it's coming from you. You have the ability to protect your energy. You can set up boundless magical field walls if you are very deep into occultism, and you are very in deep into your imagination, because a lot of the spell bindings are really just your imagination. But again, once you start looking at life, then you realize like the shit that you do is not coincidental. You do it for a reason. Like you can even just be sitting up and some shit, you just randomly see some shit in your head that you did not try to force yourself to think about. And that's what I mean by it's not coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence in life. The imagination is a very powerful thing, and that's when people tend to ignore and just push to the side because they don't physically see it, but it's there. It's still there. Just because you don't physically see it and you can't physically touch something does not mean it's not there. It's still there. And that's what people don't want to admit about pretty much the spiritual. Like, I look at life and me as the energy being 24/7. So my perspectives on a lot of things are very, very, very different. My beliefs in life are very different, and even my daily routines are very different from a lot of average people or whatever. And then it's like you can start talking about the periodic element table. Like that table is full of bullshit. Like people take that shit and just throw it away. Don't look at that element table anymore or whatever. Like physics is pretty much just nature. Like if you can go within yourself, like all the answers to all these questions they be trying to ask about nature, physics, quantum physics and all that shit, it's pretty much within us, melanated people. Only we really have like the keys to answer to all of these questions. Like humans or non-melanated people do not understand or comprehend. And that's what you're seeing in a lot of medias and a lot of these experiments and all that bullshit that they got going on. They don't comprehend because they don't know how to look below the surface of shit. And that's what like not having melanin does to you. And it's ain't that I'm trying to be like racist and none of that shit. Like I can give a fuck about being the racist and all that other shit. I'm just speaking a scientific truth that non-melanated people been studying for years. Like they want melanin. Like melanin is like crack to them. It's crack. And it's the reason why it is cracked to them, because melanated people are immortals. We always come back, and we have the capability through DNA genetics to unlock the mysteries of the universe, because we are that mystery. You yourself are sacred geometry. You can understand anything that you want to unlock in life. The Da Vinci Code can go fuck off. We are the Da Vinci Code. We literally are the Da Vinci Code. We are the model, the deity. You are very powerful. Just believe in yourself and also speak life within yourself. That's one thing sacred geometry constantly reminds me of on an everyday basis is yes, I have influence from a lot of shit all the way down to an atom. So if I got that much influence all the way down to an atom with my energy, then why don't I speak that life out into the world? Like, ain't no telling how far that energy wave is going to travel, and somebody can feel that. Like, it's all about spreading energy love. Put it out into the universe. Stop speaking negative shit upon yourself and speak life into your life because you are already divinely blessed. You just have to believe in you. Yes, I am a motivational talker because that's what we need more of. We need more motivational talkers that start to hold these dumbass motherfuckers out here accountable for these dumbass decisions that they cleanly wipe under the rug and try to point the fingers at everybody else. It's time to bring a fucking accountability to Earth, people. So if you're with me, then motivate yourself. You are the best form of motivation. You yourself. So I want you all to stay dangerous and stay magical. And remember, you are sacred geometry. You are the key to understanding the universe. The universe is just waiting for you to want to sit down and patiently understand it. It's right, like it's all right in front of your face. You don't have to be a fucking rocket scientist and go to a college to figure all of this shit out. It's in front of your face. So I want y'all to stay dangerous and stay magical. And thank you for tuning in to Word Origins with Lucifer Part